Everyone and their dog is talking about the bishop who called out Donald Trump for good reason. Quite the moment. And what I want to get to, though, in this segment is the reaction from Trump, not even just right in the moment, but hours later in the middle of the night. So hold for that. Trump having a little bit of a midnight reaction to it. But first, if you did somehow miss this very viral moment, here from the Associated Press, President Donald Trump on Wednesday demanded an apology from the Episcopal Bishop of Washington after she made a direct appeal to him during a prayer service marking his inauguration to have mercy on the LGBTQ plus community and migrant workers who are in the United States illegally. This was at the Washington National Cathedral. And let's go ahead. Again, I know so many of you have seen this already, but remind ourselves of this, and then we'll move on to Trump's reaction later in the night to it. While you watch, please do click the subscribe button.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
And now what you're going to see here on screen is the aftermath of this. You can tell Trump is not happy that someone would dare say, "Have mercy." How dare you? Something else. So before getting to his midnight reaction, here was him shortly after as he arrived back at the White House.
Mr. President, what did you think of the sermon? What did you think of the sermon?
What did you think of the What did you think of the sermon?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
Thank you, press. Inside. Thank you.
By the way, every single time when Biden was president, his staff would go, "Thank you, press. All right, please leave, please." I'd see right-wing accounts going, "Oh, they had to rush away the press because Biden was going to have some sort of episode." But at 12:39 a.m., Trump was still thinking about this and posted the so-called bishop, who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She didn't say she hated you. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed. By the way, is this nasty in tone to you?
And the people who
so soft and level-headed. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. And by crime wave, he means like a crime crevice. There we go. Because crime's going down. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. That's church. She is not very good at her job. I'm kidding. Church can be very inspiring. I'm just saying, a lot of times church can get a little boring side. We are in for example. She's not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. T. I don't know if that's him signing off. Like, I'm out. T out. Trump's out. But by the way, just for anyone out there, I think can be interesting. I'm not taking any shots at anything. I'm just saying it's sort of a stereotype of church that it's boring, but maybe that's because we live in a too fast-paced world, and it's good to take a moment of pause to connect with whatever your spiritual or faith-based belief system is. Okay? Somebody started typing. I'm saying stop, delete. You're good. Okay, back to this. He signed off T as he just spoke about the tea, which for our oldies out there is kind of a term for the drums or the goss. And he's unhappy. Now, in terms of was it inappropriate to bring politics? First off, she didn't technically bring politics, right? Politics, yes, has huge overlap, as this is tugging on my ear, huge overlap with so many issues, fundamental issues in our lives. And so for her, it's a pleading with Trump, which is, I am called to love and stand up for people, and this is me doing that. But it's not necessarily her saying, this would be a political statement, for example. I wish Kamala Harris had won. That would be inappropriately political. But I'm sensitive to the criticism, not from Trump, who cares, but from other people of, listen, I may have even agreed with what she said, but I don't think creating a moment that you know is going to go viral, that people are going to perceive as political, is the right thing to do in such a moment. And we can agree and disagree over that. I just think strategically, this might have, she's doing something honorable, but I think if I were in her position, I'd realize that Trump, he's going to go the opposite direction, even if he gets called out on it, or especially if he gets called out on it. As we're seeing here, he's going to double down. And so even Trump's response shows that, and this doesn't make doing it wrong, but it shows that he's not being impacted properly by it, and call outs are going to maybe even drive him in the opposite direction. But I do think there's still something powerful about doing something so publicly so that the world sees it. And again, if you have that calling and dedication to a faith that's supposed to, for a lot of people it doesn't, supposed to align with advocacy for the very folks that she mentioned, then maybe she feels morally required. And it's funny that asking for mercy, she doesn't say a particular policy stance, maybe in a vague sense, but not really. But just saying, can you be merciful and compassionate, is now a big political stance and enrages Trump, shown by his response completely missing her point altogether, completely. But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on doing that in that environment. Is it inappropriate at all? Is it not? And maybe it's unusual, but the powerful nature of it justifies it.